He's got the privilege of being number one, and he's got a series of questions that we have collaboratively, along with the Alabama Association of School Boards, has come up with based on the public surveys that we put out and got the feedback on. So the questions have been geared towards that feedback, okay? So we're going to be asking the same questions to each candidate. We're going to be interviewing Mr. Parrish first. Then after his interview, we're going to start a 5:30 interview with Mr. Tommy today, okay? And then we'll have interviews each night, including Friday afternoon. And we'll finish up Friday afternoon. We'll have a call board meeting on Tuesday of next week. And hopefully we will collaboratively work towards naming a superintendent at that point. So without further interruption, we're going to start the interview process with Mr. Parrish.
Before we ask questions, are we rolling? Before we ask questions, I want to address the board and the individuals here as public and let you know that many people appreciate the job that y'all do and the seat that y'all sit in and the service that you render to our community and our system. And you have a daunting task as far as hiring the next superintendent. And I know that y'all give out y'all's best, and I wish you Godspeed on that. Whomever is chosen, I want to be the best one for Winfield City and everybody else does too, and I appreciate it. Now, Rick.
Thank you, Mr. Parrish. Okay, we're going to start with the first question. And if you need to take a few minutes to collect your thoughts, you can do that. If you need to take a break at any point, just let us know, okay? Now, we're going to be asking these questions in round robin order, okay? It'll come back around. We'll keep going until the end. Some of these questions are 2- and 3-part questions, okay? We're going to read the questions in their entirety, okay? We're not going to read, this is a 2-part question. We're going to read both parts at the same time, okay? You've had the benefit of having those questions before you. Take your time. You can answer the first part, then answer the second part, and take your time, okay? Now, we're going to be taping these interviews, and the reason why we're taping these interviews is we never know when one of our board members can't be here for some unforeseen reason. So we're taping those because of the benefit of all board members to be able to see the interviews before we make our final decision. We're also planning on posting those interviews to our website for those of the public that were not able to attend today that might want to do that. So smile, you're on candy camera, okay? Okay, we're going to get to the first question. I'm going to ask the first question and we'll move down the road here, okay? First of all, tell us about your background as an educator and how your previous experiences have prepared you to be the superintendent of Winfield City Schools.
First of all, I want to say my name is BenjieParrish Jr., and most people don't know that. And most people call me Benji, so when I talked to Mandy earlier, she had asked me which name I wanted, and I said, for this situation, put my real name, and then from now on, just put Benji, because that's my nickname. That's my dad's name, and so we both had to, one's a senior and one's a junior, so I had to be named the nickname. And so later on in life, the IE usually dropped off with names, but I've kept mine. Like Tommy, and people become Tom, but I'm still Benji, so that's where we are today. As far as what has helped me get to where I am today, is that the question that we've asked?
Tell us about your background.
The background, as far as I've obtained a BS from University of North Alabama, obtained a master's University of North Alabama, obtained administrative degree, master's at University of Alabama, Birmingham, and also an EDS at University of Alabama, Birmingham. I had the privilege of being here at Winfield most of my career. I have right at 30 years of education and in education, and I've been very blessed to be able to be in places to where the expectations are high and you have support. And so that's kind of where I am today as far as 20 years, the last 20 I've served as the high school principal, and I've just had a lot of individuals in the past that have been the forerunners for this whole system, and not just for me, but for others just like me, that have laid a great foundation, and so you just try to carry that on. So that's where I am today, and by the grace of the good Lord and second chances, I am where I am.
What do you see as the role of the superintendent as it relates to the employee groups, the students, the community, and the school board?
The role of superintendent to employee groups, I think, needs to be someone who is an individual who nurtures, who guides, who supports. To your student population, I think that individual needs to be someone who listens to those individuals and is an advocate for the students. And you can have specific examples of things that happened in the past, but there's always a flip side to every coin. And so you need to be able to be the one who can discern what is the best in that situation and be able to be an advocate for that student. For your community group, you need to be someone who can listen, someone who can take ideas, also be able to bridge anything that might be as far as one idea versus another idea, and be able to do that in a way that people, when they leave the office, they feel like that they have been able to have a say, and everybody leaves on good terms, no matter what the situation might be. There's another group.
School board.
School board.
Yeah.
I feel like the person who is the superintendent needs to have that open communication with the school board, be able to have a vision, and everybody share that vision. And people who have been in the educational situation with me know that there's not any me with me, if that makes sense. I look at a we situation. Just for that last answer right there, the answer to the question is that you do have to have passion. And I feel that, and let me just put it this, I'm answering questions about Winfield. I think that the majority of the people at Winfield, and I say the majority, I say in the high 90% of individuals at Winfield, are driven. And I think they're intrinsically driven, and I think they can be extrinsically driven. But I think, based upon some of the teachers I've had moved in, and I talked to one just the other day from middle school, and they said, I taught several years in another place, and then I came to Winfield, and it was just daylight and dark. The people here, actually, they teach, they drive themselves, but they don't want to be the weak link with their department groups, whether it be whatever the genre is at the high school or the departments in elementary and middle school. And so what I'm saying is you've got those individuals. And to figure out what you want to do as an agenda for yourself as a superintendent versus what's best for the group, you've got to be able to have people give input about what that would be. And you've got to be able to listen to that input. And things that I learned from a gentleman several years ago is that don't take things personally. Because a lot of times what you do is you'll ask a question and the person might say, well, what you want them to do, what they think that you want to hear. Let them understand, hey, tell me what's on your mind. Tell me whether is this correct or not correct. Because if you're saying yes and you want to jump on board, we're going to do it. And if you're saying, hey, we don't think it's the best thing, then let's back up and look at something else. But you got to have collaboration.
Thank you very much. Next question. Describe how you would obtain support from the Board of Education for candidates you intend to recommend for employment. Please also discuss the most difficult personnel problem you have ever dealt with and how you resolve the issue.
Collaboration, you've got to be able to, first of all, you've got to have them in mind. Let's say, for instance, let's give an example. Somebody needs to be hired in a certain position, okay, whatever that position may be. If it's the superintendent that is making the decision based upon what it is, they're going to have to get feedback from their administration. And then it might be a situation where the administration gets feedback from their teacher. I had a gentleman one time who was a mentor of mine who told me about the hiring process. And of course, I said, Dr. Watkins, I'm not going to do it like that. And he put his hand on my shoulder. He said, Benny, if you're going to make it in this business, you're going to have to change. And at that time, it didn't resonate. However, I understand what he's talking about. And the thing about it, what he was trying to say is that I understand that at the very end of the day, your head's on the chopping block. I understand that. but you need to be able to take other ideas of individuals that can give you input and give you insights to things that you're not privy to. Like say, for instance, a mathematics teaching position I come open. I have to do people in the math department. I'll put on the seat and they'll interview with me. The reason why is because I can talk that situation as far as get that feel from that individual that's communicating with me across that table. However, when you start putting letters and numbers together, sometimes I kind of have a little bit of harder time with that. And so I need people in there that know that genre to be able to say, hey, they know what they're talking about at the end of the day. Okay? Because that's what I'm asking. I say, do they know what they're talking about? Or, so what I'm saying is you got to be able to do something such as that, is to kind of just have some collaborative effort with that. Next, let's figure out what the other part of that question was, because I've got off on that. I'll run a rabbit now, guys, and I'll forget now.
Well, the second part is please discuss the most difficult personnel problem you've ever dealt with and how you resolve the issue.
But going back to what the first one was, okay? Going back to the first one, you need to get that collaborative effort. Find out what the best person is for that position. And then you need to make that, get all the background information you can, whether it be background checks, whether it be a situation where you call in court. A lot of times people will just call it the individual that they have put on there as the reference call. Well, that's good and wonderful. You're not going to put somebody's name down if they're not going to give you a good reference. What you want to do is you call the people that they're employed with now, or who they were employed with 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Find out what the situation is. Find out whether they're a player, or find out whether they're somebody who is who gets along with folks, might not fit the group you're in. They might say, hey, listen, they know their area. And if there's a but or however, then you know there's some things that they need to tweak. So you'd be able to get all that information and then bring that back to the Board of Education, let them know, say, hey, I've done some background information for this individual. I think this person would fit well. Or be a situation to where somebody else might say, listen, have you talked to so-and-so about this? Because 5 years ago this happened. You might think, well, no, I haven't done that. So you get as much collaborative background information as you can. The most difficult thing that an individual has to deal with in my position is a personnel situation most of the time, or if it's something that, a legal issue or something like that. What you got to do is you got to hire people that you feel like that are the best ones for the position, and that way give them an opportunity to grow, guide them, give information, give them all you can. Give those individuals somebody to partner up with that they can ask questions with, and then at the end of the day, if the situation's not, if it's not just the greatest thing in the world, you got to be able to look across the table and tell that individual, hey, we need to get better in this area. You've got some strengths, but now I usually try not to use the word weaknesses. I usually try to use the word of you've got some things that we can work on. That way, I think it puts a positive twist on the whole conversation. And if those things are not taken care of, you've got to have the backbone enough to be able to say, hey, here's where we are, guys. We're giving you this opportunity, we've not grown, we'd like to go in a different direction. So that happened several times, so that's one of the most difficult things that you have to do. But you have to do it because you got to keep the best interest of the kids at heart, because they're the ones we're here for anyway. And if it's not the best for the whole student body, the whole teaching situation, you've got to back up and do something else.
The next question is, what is your plan for boosting and keeping morale among the employees high?
I'm gonna tell you this is like an athletic analogy. Morale is like momentum. Okay? One team's going to have it throughout the ball game, and you hope it's on your side the whole time. It's not going to be. So what I'm saying is you're going to have morale. It's either going to be good or it's going to be bad. So what you've got to do is, I feel like, and this is me personally, I feel like that I have to lead from a situation as a doer. And if I have a situation where we have a mess in the hallway or something, I don't pick up the phone or call Mr. Hickman to come clean that up. You've got class change where you just gonna let that happen, and people trumping all in the, maybe spilled drink or whatever. Clean it up yourself. And the thing about it is people see that, and they know that if you ask them to do something, they're not going to say, well, he wouldn't do it, so why am I going to do it? Do something that you don't mind asking somebody else to do. I feel like leading by example is the biggest thing. So morale can be a situation where it is going to be good or bad. You just hope that you do enough things and lead in a way to where that momentum is good and that morale is good. So for that to happen, you've got individuals that are teachers and they want to teach. They want their classroom to be a learning environment. So what you do is you let them teach. If they need some guidance, you help guide them. But you can't be guiding them all the time. Because if you're on them all the time, they're not going to feel like they're adequate whatsoever. Everybody's got to have a feeling that they are doing a job and doing it well. And if they need some help, you need to give them some guidance. You need to let them, you need to hire folks, let them do their job, and guide. And a micromanage type situation, I've tried never to do. And what that really consists of, I believe, is that you can ride somebody so long to where it's a bad situation between both parties. I just feel like being able to say, hey, listen, here's where we are, here's where we need to be. I'll help you get there if you want me to help you. If you don't, then we're going to address again, and we'll see where we're at.
High performance by students and accountability are priority for us. How would you assess the current student performance levels in our school system? And how would you assess the effectiveness of our teachers and programs?
The situation as far as I said earlier, there have been a lot of people, forerunners that have been here for many, many years that set things, from the mid-50s all the way up through the 60s and 70s and 80s, and those are the people that were front runners. And at that particular time, the reason why we are where we are today is because they have a vision to be better. So it's always been expected that we're going to try to do our best and be the best. So in that type of situation, I felt like that we have always strived to do the best. And even in that striving, there's always room for improvement. However, if you're at the 96th or 95th or 94th percentile, it's harder to improve in that big of an area than it is in this big of an area. So, with that being said, we've always striven to be the best. And there's always room for improvement. And that being said, it's still the same way it is currently. There's always room for improvement. How to assess that? You look at what you want to improve in. Most people think of just looking at test scores, and that's not always the situation, okay? So you've got to be able to be broad-minded and find out exactly what area we want to improve in. It might be an extracurricular activity or something, okay? So what I'm saying is that be able to discern what area you're talking about, and then you do an evaluation. And you talk with that individual, talk with that particular portion of it, whether it be an extracurricular or whether it be in the classroom or whatever. And then you do that evaluation. And throughout the year, you look to see if benchmarks have been met. And at the very end, you do another program evaluation to find out where we're at and where we are now. So that's how I think the assessment of that is.
Expectations for student achievement for all children is high in Winfield, and eliminating the achievement gap is a moral commandment. What approaches would you pursue? What leadership and guidance would you provide to ensure that these approaches are properly evaluated and adjusted over time to meet changing student needs? Please describe any successes you have had in these areas.
Repeat that.
That's a big one. A lot of parts.
There are a lot of parts. What number is that? I might have to look at that.
9, number 9.
You have various achievement gaps throughout K through 12, and more so now probably than what we had many years ago, or that are, I'll say they're reported more so. You have response to intervention students, you have special needs individuals, you have individuals that are EL, that's English learners, usually ELL. You have so many subgroups that you have that you've got to make sure that those individuals are learning at their most optimum way that we can teach and them to learn. The closing that gap is you've got individuals that are even hired currently to do a great job with special needs. You have individuals who do a fantastic job with the English learner individuals. Then you have your regular teachers who work with the response to intervention students. Those are the students that might not reach one subcategory. However, they are grouped in this category as far as they might have a deficiency as far as a learning deficiency in a certain area. So being able to find out what makes that individual tick, to be able to get them to learn better, that is a situation that's an ongoing type situation. And we have people in place now that do a great job with that. And I feel like the superintendent's job is to be able to discuss things with those people who are over those groups and be able to say, hey, what else do we need to be doing? What about this? You talk about that. So that's some of the things. Let me look and see how many questions there were in that. See if I've missed any. We also have individuals that are not going to go to college. We have individuals that are going to go to college. And we have individuals who would like to do cooperative education programs. And we have several of those programs currently. You have situations where we have dual enrollment. People think most of the time dual enrollment is an academic situation. In most cases in the past it has been. But our dual enrollment situation now is with our articulation agreements with community college, Hope Community College, is that we have individuals who are working on what you call a non-academic type situation to be able to get out with a 24 hours equivalency of a 2-year degree and be able to work in a factory in a specialized field. And we have 4 individuals who are doing that now. They will graduate in May. They are currently with Level State in Hamilton. And we have a local, say local, 30 miles away or so, group that has taken those individuals and paid for their education. And that way when they graduate from Bethel, if they're offered a job with them, then that's great. If they're not offered, then they have that capacity to go on somewhere else with the certification that they have. And we're also in the talks with Bevel, and it's very new as far as our students in the cooperative education program. Bevel for like a couple of classes, and then they would go to Mercedes. So it's we've got some things on the horizon we're looking at, and an individual has to stay on top of those type of things and on the cutting edge to find out what's out there for all groups to be able to operate at their most optimum capacity. And plus, the first thing you want is you want individuals to be successful citizens. That's what our vision is anyway, as far as those individuals getting out and being able to be a successful citizen.
Thank you.
Describe your experience in developing and implementing curriculum and instructional programs to raise student achievement. How would you evaluate the instructional program, and how would you make changes to the instructional program?
I'm going to go back to very few things that you're going to hear me say that I've done. I've been involved, been blessed to be involved with people who have vision to be able to see what's out there and try to raise the bar and be on that team with them. And we've had certain situations in the past where we've had teachers who will bring something to my attention and say, hey, I really think this program is good. And I say, listen, if you think it's good, then give me some feedback about why you think it's good. Is it a tutorial situation? We've got one that our teachers in the mathematics department, we're low in some situations as far as the last several years and some scores there. And And they said, I think that this can help with our output. And so look at that and see where we go. Tutorial situation, system is called Math Space, and our students use that and are able to have a situation where if they answer the question correctly, then they go on to the next. If they don't answer that question correctly, it's not that you got a red mark, it's wrong. If you answer it incorrect, it gives you feedback about what to look for next, and tries to use that higher order thinking skill. It just doesn't tell you right or wrong. It tells you, okay, what would you do? In other words, you know it's wrong, but to get the right answer, think about this, and the next do this. And so it'll give you about 3 areas that you can improve on to try to get that correct answer. It's not just a yes or no. So you try to get in that classroom, you want that student using that higher order thinking skill. What else do we have on that question?
How would you evaluate the instructional program, and how would you make changes to the instructional program?
Well, you'll go back and you'll look and see whether on that instructional item, is it working? The students, is it friendly? You get some students' input on whether that is a good situation or not. Most of the time, if you ask them about the homework portion of it, they're going to tell you they don't like it. It's just been my experience with most students, in homework. So what you want to do is get some feedback and find out from the teachers. And someone will tell you, say, hey, this is not really what we thought it would be. And someone will tell you, say, hey, it really is. And in this case, Math Space, they really do like it. And the students I've talked with do like it. And the good thing about it is it's an online program. If you have the ability to be able to have Wi-Fi at home, or a lot of people just, you do it on your phone. So if you get, not minutes, but if you got data on your phone, you can do it from your phone also. So it's a situation where most of the time that can be done. But if it's not, and the person doesn't have availability for that type of Wi-Fi or whatever it might be, we've got that situation at the high school where we've got a period built in where they can do that. Now, they don't like their parents to know that they have 2.5 hours a week that they have built into the curriculum that they can do what they need to be doing instead of using the cop-out that they don't have that type of Wi-Fi at home or whatever. What I'm saying is that tutorial that we use as far as our RTI period / break and some other things is a good period that we have that I think is utilized. And people who utilize it are the ones who probably don't need to. If I'm kind of collaborating on that, it's the people who have an A and an A+, and most of the time when you have the individuals that really need to go in there, you got to kind of put your arm around them and encourage them to go in. So it's a situation where they might not be doing very well and get in the passing mode, not the failing mode. So, but we have that ability to be able to serve that child. At one time, we had individuals, even in this room, who wrote a curriculum to the state of Alabama and had it approved. And I was on that team, and all I was there probably for moral support. But at some point in time, that's what you need to have, is you need to have somebody, that's doing the backbone of the work and say, hey guys, y'all doing a great job. So there are very few things that I have done, but we've had several people that have done in a collaborative effort.
Thanks, sir.
Was there another question on that? How would I make changes to the instructional program? Like I said earlier, you got to find out where you're at, where you want to be, and are you getting there? If you're not, you need to address it.
Okay. Next question. Describe your ability to cultivate a disciplined, safe, and orderly school environment.
I think that a disciplined and a disciplined environment comes with trust, first of all. And I think that what you have to do is you get people. I just want to say that I'm not good at tooting the horn, but God's given me the ability over the years to be able to people to buy in. Well, I don't know, but I just feel like that I have that ability to help those individuals, nurture them, those individuals buy in, and our discipline situation, I think, has been a good situation over the years. And I have a lot of people that that help with that. You've got to let your teachers run their classroom, and you've got to let your students know that you're going to support that teacher, and that teacher has the ability to run that classroom. And if there's some things that are amiss, then I encourage those students to come see me on their own, to where they can talk to me about some things, and that's where I come in as that student advocate, okay? And I listen to that student and able to discern what we've got going on, and be able to go back and talk to some individuals about that. And that's that trust factor. And you've got to always be able to have individuals, whether it be parents or whether it be whatever stakeholder it is, they feel like that person has the best interest of whomever that they are supporting at heart. And the discipline is something that was set many, many years ago now. And the board has always supported discipline, and we do discipline. We have to discipline and maintain it. Is it done differently than it has been probably 30 or 40 years ago? Sure. But do we still have? In my opinion, yes.
The next question is, what do you think the role of extracurricular activities and career pathways should be in our school system?
That's when I have some people will call the office and say, hey, let's so-and-so check out. Y'all not doing anything today. And I'll say, listen, just because we're not doing mathematics in the classroom doesn't mean that our Renaissance Fair does not have some relevance on the learning environment. We did a lot to get to where we are today. So let's enjoy the whole day of the Renaissance Fair. And that's just an example. And but what I'm saying is there is extracurricular activities and things outside of the actual classroom are very relevant. And I think I think being a part of a team is one of the greatest things that an individual can do. Whether it be a checkers team, or whether it be a chess team, or whether it be a basketball team, a football team, a band, a robotics team, just being a part of a team is going to help you in life to be able to get along with individuals and know that there is a greater good there, and it's not all about I and me. And the team concept is what you really have to have a successful church, a successful family, a successful school, you just name it, business, whatever it is, you're going to have a team type concept. I promise it'll go along a lot better if you have that. So if I've got individuals from the past that said, hey, we don't do anything, but we sure would like to play checkers. I said, well, here's the deal. On Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, you can play from 3 to 4. But on Wednesday and Friday, we're closing early because Wednesday's church and Friday's the ball games. So y'all play all you want. And so we just have people that are like that. So some people don't have a niche. They got to find their niche. And if you got 5 or 6 doing that, that's great. You've got 10 or 12 that want to be involved in a robotics situation. That's great. You just got some things that I really feel like that those are things that are part of the learning process that individuals will carry with them as much or more later on in life.
In Winfield City Schools, the superintendent handles the operations of a variety of programs and duties due to the size of the district. Explain your experiences with dealing with different programs such as special education, federal programs, career tech, at-risk programs, and so forth. How would you approach the budget process to ensure success during these financially challenging times?
Question. Which one was that? Where I can look at the first?
13. Number
Okay.
13.
Which one?
13.
13. I have a background in special needs, so as far as knowing some of the ins and outs of that, I'm very familiar with that. First of all, I want to say we have people that are hired in those positions that do a fantastic job. You have a chief financial officer who is fantastic. You have a special needs coordinator and federal program coordinator who do a fantastic job. So what I'm saying is let those individuals do their job. You're gonna confer with them, find out what needs to be done, maybe do a little bit better, but those individuals are always trying to do something that enhances the learning process for our students. And the monetary situation, you've got an individual who knows exactly what they're doing. And so what you do is you talk to that individual, and I'm just going to use it as preachers say you don't use examples, self-examples, but I'm going to use a self-example. You talk to those individuals and say, listen, here's where we are now today. You know, where are we going to be 2 months from now? And they assure you, don't worry about it. When you start school up, you're going to be spending quite a bit of money. And then it tapers off because all your contracts are paid throughout the year and you go on from there. So what I'm saying is you got people that are in place that do those things. Trust those individuals. Collaborate with those individuals. Find out as much as you can about those programs. But let those individuals do their jobs and you be able to just touch base and make sure that everything's going in the right direction. Was there another part to that question?
The
Budget process, saying financially challenging times, they're always financially challenged. Here's the thing about it is if I'm using somebody else's money, I take care of it a whole lot more than I do mine. And most of you know me, know that I'll peach that penny as long as it'll go. So,
Thank you.
When a new superintendent is hired, you want to make the transition as smooth as possible for everyone. How would you help both the educational community and the community at large adjust to the new governing style that would come with a new superintendent?
I said earlier when we first started that wish you Godspeed on the choice of whomever is chosen. And it's been in my DNA for years and years to do my job and do the best of my ability. And I think that's what you've got here with about 100% of the individuals that are employed in this place. They're going to do their job, do it to the best of their ability. And I think that trickles down from the administration top all the way down. And so what I'm saying is whoever the next person that comes in, help that individual as much as possible as far as introducing them to individuals throughout the community, and let that transition be as smooth as possible. And it's kind of like I tell our students sometimes, and I've said this for years, you might not, let's use the presidency for an example, you might not like who sits in that seat of the presidency, but that seat has respect. So you respect that seat and you do the best you can for the greater good, whether it be a conflict because of you or whatever. Don't let that be the situation. It can't be. It can't be about you. It has to be about the process, the greater good of the whole.
Thank you.
What methods of communicating with parents have you found most effective, and how would you encourage parental involvement? And how do you plan to communicate with the public on matters of school concern?
I found that one of the most interesting questions because as an individual as old as I, that have been doing this for a long time, used to, the telephone was what we used, and that's how you got your communication out with the telephone. And it's not like that as much anymore. Phone still has a place now. But getting your message out is something that the public's going to get a message. And it's either going to be good or bad. And it can be up to the superintendent or whomever that liaison is to get that positive message out there. It's kind of like, I steal this from a former superintendent who made a statement that working with teachers is like using an emotional bank account, because you better be putting all the positives in you can when you have an opportunity, because one day you're going to have to take one out, okay? You're going to have to write a check, And so you're gonna have a lot of positives in there, and you're gonna have to take one out. So what I'm saying is whether it's good or bad, you better communicate what the idea is. And something that we've done a little bit different this year than what we've done in the past is that if we have, like say for instance, a drill that we do at one of the schools, we will text that message out that your child was involved in whatever drill it was today. And I personally like the text better than I do the phone call. That's just a personal situation. The reason why is because if you have a phone call, you don't listen to all of it. And you might think you heard something, but if you get a text, you can read that over and over and over instead of having to call back, call it again. You can read that text. And so if your child participated in a lockdown drill, well, it shows that your child participated in a lockdown drill. And then you might read it to start off with, and you might think, our school is in lockdown. But you read further, and you said it was a lockdown drill. They participated in that drill. So what I'm saying is that's how I like to get the message out as far as to our to our parent group is through a text. Now, through the community group, I feel like that the web is one of the best ways that you can get that, and if they'll view that web page, they'll get the information that they need. So I think that is an all inclusive situation where you can get the message out right there. But the message has got to go out, good, bad, or ugly.
Thank you.
Okay. Based on the fact that the new superintendent will start in the middle of the year, what are the first few things that you are going to do if you are hired as superintendent? And what do you view as our system's greatest potential for improvement?
I have an advantage over probably most of the interviews that I'm in the seat as an interim now. The things that we did to start off with as far as getting school started and assuring individuals that they'd be able to teach and do what they have done. That process is not going to change, and you will continue to preach that process, let those individuals do their job, guide them the way they need to. So as far as me personally is coming in at this particular time, it's not going to be as big of an issue as it would be for someone else, because somebody else is going to answer that question a lot differently than what I am. Is there another part to that?
Yeah, what do you view as our system's greatest potential for improvement?
What question are you on?
That's going to be on question 16, the second part.
I feel like, I touched on this a little while ago, I feel like, and I'm looking at it as a high school principal, okay? We couldn't do what we do if we didn't have that foundation in that pre-K and in that K and that 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up. We wouldn't be able to do what we do as far as graduating that individual and to be a productive citizen. And whatever route they want to go, that's what we want to talk about, is where that child wants to go towards the community college situation, whether they want to go to a 4-year college, or whether they want to go to the workforce. What do we need to do to get those individuals ready for that particular situation? Well, in some cases it'd be where you try to do your best as far as teaching those individual skills for ACT testing, okay? And used to, the ACT test was voluntary, and your individuals at the school would probably, you'd probably have 30 to 40% of those individuals as a senior to be able to take those exams. Now it's 100% of those individuals take those exams, because that is a test that the state of Alabama mandates that all juniors take. So therefore, those skills have to be taught throughout the whole curriculum, throughout the whole time those individuals are in school. Then you have a test as a senior that you'll take. It is a skills examination that is also coordinated some with ACT, but it's was that work keys, thank you. Have a senior moment. The work keys, and what that is that individual can make a 3, 4, 5, or a 6. I believe it goes up to a 6. And what you've got a bronze, a platinum, a silver, And what that means is if you'll take that test seriously and do the best you can on it, you don't ever know when you're gonna need it. We had a young man who graduated for 2 years and came back and said, "I got my worksheet exam." So I don't know, we'll have to look and see, we'll find it online. And they made a 4. Well, they were hired right then because the employer that they were going to see, they said, "Hey, did you take worksheets in school?" "Yeah, I did." "What'd you make?" "I don't have a goal." Well, they made a 4, and they got to bypass everything that somebody else that didn't do well on that worksheet, and they got hired right there in front of everybody else. So that's something that we want to try to do, that I think we can improve on, is with our students, with our workforce readiness. I think that's something that can be improved in the district. And we're looking at that in different co-op programs also.
Okay, we're down to the final question. Do you have any questions for the board members here?
Guys, I don't have any questions. I was going to let y'all know that if you had anything that you wanted to go in more detail now, you tell me, and I'll be glad to go in more detail if I can, and I'll find somebody that can. That's what I try to tell teachers most of the time is, hey, it's not bad to let your students know you're human. You don't always know everything. So tell them, say, hey, I don't know the answer to that. If I can find out, let's find it together. That way, when you find it together, you Google something, you find it together, it's all a learning process. And they're learning and you're learning also. So I do not have any questions. Have y'all got any more questions for me? Is there anything that I didn't touch on that you'd rather me, would you kind of like me to tie something up? Tie in, not tie up, but tie in.
Thank you very much. And we appreciate your time and effort in talking with us. And we've got 4 others to do. And we really appreciate you talking with us and clarifying some things. And we do have a tough job to make because we've got some great candidates.
No doubt.
Thank you.
I appreciate y'all being here, guys.
Thank you.